I'm Peter Barcott.
And I'm Kyle Fletcher, and we make music.
We're trying to come up with that one hook, that one melody that gets stuck in your head and won't let go.
We write, record, and submit dozens of ideas. But the truth is, most won't make it. But it only takes one.
And we're going to write that one.
It comes and goes. Everybody knows. Life, it comes and goes. Everybody knows. It comes and goes. It comes and goes. It comes and goes.
It actually started when I decided to go to engineering school. I met Sean Enright there, who owns the studio with me. I had been playing in bands for years and recording and done records, and I was always really interested in that. When I was a little kid, I used to look like the album Destroyer by Kiss, and I look back, who's Bob Ezra? How come he gets to record them? That sounds cool, hanging out with bands and stuff. I knew a little bit about recording, but I decided I wanted to get a degree so I could really know it. Met Sean there, and we hit it off. We were in all the classes together, and so our first version of the studio we started recording on his house out in Duval, Washington. It's way out in the boonies. It was in a basement. We had a little, like, almost like a closet and then like a rec room. That was the live room. It was pretty dodgy, crappy recordings, but that's where we learned all the things that you're not supposed to do with recording. They were going to tear that house down. He was renting, so he was looking for a new place. And at the same time, me and my wife were looking for a bigger house. We were going to move. And so my thing was, okay, we're going to house. All I want is a basement that I can make a studio in. So then we found this house, and I was like, I could work with this basement. And it was in 2006, I believe, or 5, we moved in here. And the first thing we had to do, I had to demo. From this post over was a laundry room, and there was a wall right here because somebody had moved the supporting beam that used to live here, and we moved it back to where it was supposed to be. And then this to the window was like a little shop. There was a furnace right about here, and we had to get that removed, and we had to have it put in a metal or a concrete bunker in the closet there. And then the live room was a garage. So the first thing we did, we had the garage door torn out and a wall put in with double metal doors. And then we gutted it. And me and Sean didn't know what we were doing, but we had a friend named J. Allen Mitchell, who was wise in the ways of construction and building studios, and he was going to help us. And eventually, that's why I called it Jam Recording Company. It sounds cool, and it was homage to Jerry, because we couldn't have built it without him. He did it for free. So he gets free recording for life. Hey, check out his band, Red Butte, out of Casper, Wyoming. So we started building, and basically we had a demo, and me and Sean came down here and just tore everything out. It took us a month or so because we're just working on weekends. We're both working full-time jobs. And then the big money was paying someone to move the furnace. We had to add a new electrical box and to beef it up. And then the slow process of framing in a studio. But we took our time and did it right. It took us about 3 years to build it. It's a the board's on a floating floor. And we used 2x10s as floor joists. But Jerry's like, well, I'm like, that's pretty excessive, trust me. And every 3 inches, there's a 3-inch screw in the wall, and everything is liquid nailed, and all the gaps are filled with the spray foam. We need like cavities that weren't filled with rock wool. There's just a ton of soundproofing inside the walls and stuff. There's way more than I had thought of. And all the walls are doubled and separated, so we did it right. It took about 3 years because Jerry would come in on Saturday and tell us what we need to do, and then we'd plow through for a couple weeks and get this part done, and he'd come back and fix what we screwed up. We had hired a company to do the electric. I mean, well, they put in a panel, they ran outlets down here, but then the wiring, Sean did all the wiring for the studio. 24 IOs, it's over 1,000 solderings. It was a soldering party for like a week. Tuning the room, you run a signal through an RTA mic. You set a mic up right where you're sitting, and then you run white noise out of the speakers, and that goes into the program, and it shows you. The program reads it and shows you what you're missing. because it's reading the bounce back and everything. So, and then you look, and sure enough, at about, I think it was about 80 or 90 hertz, there's just a big dip that we're not hearing. And we started listening to our mixes, and it's like, whoa, yeah, there's some low end missing there. And that's why we noticed on our mixes we're really compensating, we're pushing the bass up. So basically, you use an EQ. We have a processor that we have, you know, a crossover going, so we can EQ the speakers, and we raise that up, and then you listen to a lot of CDs. And then we put the acoustical treatment in here, and then we, like in the corners where we have the bass traps where they're really working overtime in there. And yeah, and after maybe about a year or so of a couple tunes, and then playing reference CDs, I think in the last 3 years, I don't think we've had to tune anything. I think we got it. It's pretty spot on.
If you want to take just a minute more, I'll let you. And if I say I need a little more, you'll try even harder. And if you say you want it all, it's yours. 'Cause there ain't nothing in this world that you and I can't handle. When I want to go with the crowd, you let me. And when you say I'm not around, I'll change all my plans. And
the window. So we were shopping around for a window, and this is a double window. It's angled. It's half-inch glass. It turned out some Microsoft muckety-muck had a studio out by where Sean lived, and he was tearing it down. They sold this thing for $200. Yeah, that was a sweet deal. That would have cost us $1,200 easy to have this thing made. This thing weighs about 300 pounds. It was a nightmare. But Jerry, he did a little. He built this little wedge system, and just went got it up there. But if we would have built this studio without Jerry, it'd be terrible. There'd probably be some mattresses glued to the wall and egg crates.
if you want to take just a minute more, I'll let you. And if you say you need a little more, well, I'll try even harder. And if you really need my love, it's there. 'Cause there ain't nothing in this world that you'll ever have to face alone. You and I make sense. No other way to explain this all away. You and I make sense. In other words.
Oh yeah, then we got the tape machine, and we're very stoked on using it. We got it tuned up, everything works on it great, and nobody wants to pay for it on it because tape's expensive. It's an MCI 2-inch 24 track. It used to be owned by John Tesh, is the rumor. It was his B machine. It only weighs 500 pounds. We're gonna sell it. I think we're looking around $2,500. So we're having a guy come in to certify it, just so everybody knows. Yeah, if you're interested, contact the Hit Chasers. We're going to buy a 2-inch 24 track machine. And it's got the remote. So this room was the hardest one to build. I mean, it just looks like a room. But like these walls are all decoupled. This was the garage. The garage door was right there. And there was a wall. I think it was right here where the wall was. So that came out, we moved everything around. But like the ceiling, it's got all the joists go this way. And the first thing we had to do was make all that ceiling like one piece. So you put cross braces, little, 2x8s. So I think there's 97 of them up here. So it makes it like one piece. So it doesn't vibrate. It vibrates, it all vibrates together. And then we cram it full of rock wool, put 1/2-inch plywood on it. Then we put this rubber stuff called sheet block over the top of that. It weighs a ton and it really cuts down sound. And then we put hat channels on that. You can Google a hat channel. It's basically a metal bar that sits up there that's kind of shaped like this. So it sits here, and then you put sheetrock up against that, so there's a cavity, an air cavity in between there. And the sheetrock we used is sheetrock with another layer of that rubber sound stuff in between it. So it's about 2 to 3 inches of crap going on up there. That was real pain. Same time we were doing the studio, we added an addition to our house. So that's right there, it's all earth behind that. It's all earth behind there, so none of the sound gets out to the neighbors. In the neighborhood, you don't want people to know you're in the studio. This is already concrete. We painted it and sealed it. There was a spot that got damp over there when we first started, when we were building. It took us about 4 different tries with different kind of sealants, and we finally found the one that worked. There hasn't been a drop since. No moisture at all. We lucked out. It got painted. Joe Gifford painted it for free. That's when within a month that we had everything in here. Then we started moving things in, and I don't remember what the date was. It's got to be like 2011, I'm guessing. Because it took forever. And we had a band from Everett, 20 Riverside, come in and do just a quick demo. They were pretty drunk at the time, so they never really finished it. But we put them to the ringers to test everything. But we really didn't get it dialed in for honestly about a year of recording little demos for friends and stuff. Because you had to tune the room, treat it, tune the room, treat it, it took quite a while. We became an LLC 2 years ago, and I had no idea about insurance and taxes and B&O and all this nonsense, and I got a plug, the Small Business Association of America. It's, what is there, they're in Seattle, they're called, well, you can Google them, there's one in every town, and they have these classes that are really inexpensive. Some of them are free, and if you sign up, you go to a class and pay, you're not then a member, and you can go in and talk to a mentor anytime for free. They got professionals in every field. I mean, they didn't have engineers that work there, but they had lawyers I could talk to, accountants, and they're the ones that kind of guided me. There was so much stuff I would have never done. Owning a business, I mean, there's lots. Yeah, Sean and I are co-owners. We're the only, the board members of the LLC, I guess. We're equal. We didn't do the president, chairman nonsense. It's as far as the state of Washington goes, they need to know who's who and who's the contact. I'm the contact because I live here. But for the licensing stuff that we do, the hit chaser stuff, I record, Sean masters. Just because we're here 3 days. When we do bands, it's usually both of us are here. We take turns, We both have completely, I don't want to say completely, but we have opposite ways of mixing. Me and Sean, we look at it from 2 different views, but it's funny, our mixes always end up sounding about the same, and we end up using the same kind of plugins, but we go at it. Sean is super technical about everything. He's like, well, if you put it, you can't put that there because it's not going to sound right. And I was like, it sounds okay. I mean, that's the key. You got to break the rules, and then you'll find out why those rules, and not really rules. You'll find out why everybody does things a certain way. There's some things that a lot of people do the same way. I read online, a guy said it perfect. He says, see how the pros do it and do it differently, and find out why they're doing it that way.
If you like the content of this channel, subscribe!
Log on and subscribe. And then log on to your mom's computer, and your sister's computer, and your coworker's computer, and subscribe. then they'll be cool just like you.
But all above board. Don't do anything illegal. We don't promote.
Oh no, if you do, just don't tell us about it.
Say